Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, broadcasting from my hidden base at the center of the Earth, and I am here today to present you with a brand new update regarding the pressing question, are the rumors that Favreau is out at Lucasfilm true? Or is there something else going on inside the company? I did a video after seeing The Mandalorian Season 3 finale speculating on this question, but since that time, some new information has come to light suggesting that Filoni may have stabbed Favreau in the back and defected to the dark side of the Force, the army of Kathleen Kennedy, no less. And so I'm presenting this update on what I've learned subsequently about the situation behind the magic curtain. Now, there seems to be a lot of rumor and speculation surrounding this question, and fans can't be blamed for indulging in this speculation because after watching Kathleen Kennedy trot Daisy Ridley out on the stage like a prize poodle in a dog show, announcing that Star Wars was indeed going to the dogs with another Star Wars movie starring the amazing Wanda Ray, the bestest ever Jedi there ever was. And then, fans suffering through a third season of The Mandalorian that ranged from mediocre to just plain awful in a way that would make even squinty-eyed Charles Bronson wince. Fans felt a great disturbance in the Force and can't help but feel that Star Wars is, at best, in decline and at worst, as dead as Palpatine. Why Palpatine, you ask? Well, in Ruse of Soywoker, Palpatine was there, but as a grotesque husk of his former self, a withered and feeble revenant animated only by hatred and the force of bad writing. Well, Star Wars these days is very similar to Palpatine, isn't it? Star Wars is physically present, but its soul has departed its body, and it wouldn't be moving around at all if Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni weren't pulling a Weekend at Bernie's shtick, putting sunglasses on the corpse and yanking it around on wires. But the strain is showing, my friends, and thus rumors are running rampant, suggesting that Jon Favreau has either quit or been fired from Lucasfilm. What's the truth of the matter? Well, my friends, I set my Hollywood spies on this question, as well as the question regarding the truth of Kennedy's allegations regarding a Rey movie, and I'm here today to share what they told me.
Oh, I think Favreau is toast, man. I think the evidence strongly points to the idea that he's out of there, under his own power or not. I mean, look at it objectively, dude. While some of Mando Season 3 was okay, there was so much cringe and disappointment in it. Clearly something is wrong, and worst of all, Favreau killed off his own character at the hands of the shitheads from The Last Jedi, no less.
That's why I've taken these rumors seriously, Harvey Cthulhu. Look, rumors come and go, but when they conform to things you've actually seen with your own eyes, when they line up with observed reality, you've got to at least take them seriously enough to examine them carefully. Look, this fact is impossible to ignore, folks. Jon Favreau killed off his own personal avatar at the end of The Mandalorian, a character that he not only identified with, he did the voice for this character, for God's sake. Paz Vizsla was a character that Jon Favreau voiced from way back in the day and continued to voice on Mandalorian. Paz was kind of his alter ego, for want of a better word, and what was Paz's ultimate fate? He died beaten down by Praetorian guards from the fucking Last Jedi. The symbolism here is unmistakable. Paz, identified with Jon Favreau, representing the forces loyal to George Lucas's vision of Star Wars, was beaten down and killed by the Praetorian Guard of Last Jedi, representing Kennedy's new wave of Disney Star Wars. Is there any other interpretation here, other than a coded message that Kennedy's vandalism of Star Wars had prevailed? That Favreau was beaten, and Star Wars is now well and truly fucked right up the poodoo chute with a red lightsaber dialed all the way up to 11, set not on stun, but on fricassee.
It's a compelling argument, and for the life of me, pun intended, I cannot fathom another explanation. But enough speculation, Doomcock. Tell us what your spies have learned.
Very well, O Skull of Calderon. At this point, I must state that what I'm about to tell you is information provided to me by sources claiming knowledge of the situation. But since I cannot independently confirm any of this, I am presenting it all as unverified rumor, and I ask you to please take this with a grain of salt. So on April 15th, I was contacted by my Hollywood spies with the following report, which starts off addressing Kennedy's alleged Rey movie. Quote, "The Return of Rey, TM. Right now, they only have a rough draft of a script. To be clear, it's based off a script called The New Order that has been turned down multiple times and allegedly has been rewritten multiple times. We have more details on this. We want to dig a bit more, and it will be in a future report." Unquote. The idea that there is no real script for this movie at this point, and that even the basic plot for this cinematic vaporware isn't established, is borne out by a recent article that appeared stating that Rey would not be the star of this movie, John Boyega would be the main character. 6 days ago, The Direct published an article titled, "John Boyega Returned to Make Star Wars Comeback in 2025 Movie." And they write, quote, "On the Hot Mic podcast, John Roca revealed that a couple of different sources claim John Boyega will be coming back for Charmin Obaid-Chinoy's 2025 Star Wars film. This means Boyega's reformed stormtrooper will be sharing the screen once more with Daisy Ridley's Rey. As for why John Boyega is now open to returning, two of Roca's trusted sources explained that the actor and Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy reportedly buried the hatchet, allowing for new negotiations." Unquote. The relevant information here, my friends, is clearly this means Kennedy is just making all of this up as she goes along. She's desperate for this movie to happen, but at this point it's not set in stone, and without a script, and the late mention of Finn as a character strongly suggests even the plot of this thing is in flux, it's highly unlikely that this movie is greenlit. Nevertheless, even its announcement suggests that all is not well at Lucasfilm, which may be one of the reasons why Jon Favreau threw up a distress signal and killed his own character off. So, is Favreau out? My friends, I set my spies on this question and they dug deep. They beat the bushes, hit up all of our Star Wars sources, and while one of those sources did reinforce the idea that Favreau was gone in some form or another, the rest of them knew nothing about Jon Favreau leaving Lucasfilm. This doesn't mean that he's not leaving, but at this point, the majority of my sources say it's simply not so to the best of their knowledge. I also hit up Cameron Pashaw about this situation, and he replied that his source, codenamed Sparrow, had said nothing about it at all, and Sparrow would know if this was true and would have alerted Cameron. However, that said, something bad has clearly happened behind the scenes at Lucasfilm, something bad enough to make Jon Favreau send up a distress flare in The Mandalorian. And my spies have been told by multiple sources that there is now friction between Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. And there are troubling hints that Filoni may have stabbed Favreau in the back and defected to Kennedy's camp. Here's what they told me on April 15th, and then following that, I will share an update they sent me on April 25th. Quote, "It would seem that Dave Filoni has stabbed Jon Favreau in the back, according to multiple sources. Jon Favreau got played. Dave is a KK underling. I know you're asking why. Well, as we understand it, Dave cut a deal with KK to let him bring Ahsoka back. Allegedly, this is the reason he was promoted. So after The Mandalorian is done, Jon may walk. We don't know if this is true, but this is what we've been told. We know James Gunn is after Jon Favreau, and if we were told the truth, that Mandalorian was changed without Jon Favreau's knowing, Jon may be ready to take Gunn's offer. We know Jon is very upset. We also know the Russo brothers have been talking to Gunn, among others. Now, we've also been told Kathleen Kennedy has been called in to meet with Bob Iger from a news source that we are kind of going to be cautious with. The same source has given us some very interesting information over the weekend. We want to verify it, unquote.
Hey, I've been suspicious about Filoni ever since he gave that girl power speech at that feminist gathering, saying basically Luke just held the door for Leia, and Leia was the real hero or some such shit. The whole damn thing could have been scripted from Kennedy's own desk.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves here, Harvey. The fog of war is thick around this story. Lucasfilm has been clamping down hard on leaks, and some of this could be disinformation. But isn't it funny that they announced Filoni would be getting his own Ahsoka movie at Star Wars Cremation 2023? Mightn't that be sufficient reason for him to betray Jon Favreau if KK said, if you only plunge the dagger in, you can make your own Ahsoka movie? Notice how Dave Filoni was on stage with Kennedy during the Rey announcement at Star Wars Cremation. Does this signal a defection? You sure didn't see Jon Favreau standing up there, right? Has Filoni gone over to the dark side? After this update, I sent my spies a request to please see if there's anything to the story that Favreau has left Lucasfilm, and in their follow-up report on April 25th, they told me, quote, "This is what we have so far. We are working to get this to you as fast as possible with a warning. We are still not sure about everything. We think we finally found someone that may have the real scoop on this. According to this source, a lot of what our special guest said was absolutely true. Dave went behind Jon's back and filmed scenes without his knowledge, and if Jon knew about them, it was under a false impression of what was being shot. The source claims that The Mandalorian going forward will be its own self-contained show, with a bad guy of the week, like the old westerns, Gunsmoke, etc., back in the day. And Dave and/or Kathleen Kennedy will not be allowed on set. Jon is not out. He's just in charge of his own show, basically. We will continue to dig, but seriously, no one seems to know anything about Jon leaving Lucasfilm. This may be a rumor coming from KK's camp. That's just a guess, unquote. And to be clear, the idea that there's division between Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni could also be KK disinformation straight from her camp. We have no way of knowing, but this is the best of my knowledge at this point, my friends. In conclusion, I told my spies I was putting out a video today about all of this, so if they have anything else, they should get it to me pronto. And here is the reply I got mere minutes before I began recording this video. Quote, "We believe this was a Kathleen Kennedy camp leak. It's been out too long. If Jon was really leaving, it would be in the mainstream news at this point," unquote. So folks, this is what I've been told so far. If Jon Favreau is out, it's a secret that's been kept very well. And Hollywood just isn't that good at keeping secrets of this magnitude. If this was true, and that's a big if because there's so much fog of war around all of this, my spies are stressing that they remain uncertain about the truth behind these rumors, one thing is crystal clear to me. Star Wars is in deep distress behind the scenes, and Kathleen Kennedy is struggling like a catfish on a dock, flopping around frantically trying to get back into the water of Star Wars. And if there's anyone at Disney with an ounce of sanity left, they'll take that catfish, put it in a basket, and dump it on the roadside for the vultures. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha